I bought the HDZero goggles because I was lucky enough to be part of the beta test group. This meant I was able to get my hands on them a week early and with a small discount on the purchase price. I've been flying with HDZero for a while and using the SkyZone Sky 04X goggles with the original SharkBite video receiver. Now, this setup has served me well. Using a VRX module is a great way to try out a system, but I found it quite annoying having to use the external module because of the added weight to the goggles, and I'm also on my second HDMI cable as they're prone to failing with long-term use. When I look back to June 2021 and consider where SharkBite, as it was called, was then, you'd never believe in just 18 months how far HDZero has come. To me, it feels like having a HDZero set of goggles now brings the system to its full maturity. When I received my pair of HDZero goggles, in the box there was stickers, firmware update cables for both the normal VTX and the Whoop Lite VTX, cleaning cloth, power cable, HDZero strap, HDZero goggle bag, 2 faceplates, one was pre-installed, and also foam padding. I also bought the analog module adapter which connects to your goggles by clicking on to the side securely through a dedicated port. The HDZero goggles are 12% lighter than my SkyZones with the VRX, which is actually a noticeable difference when you're wearing them. The head strap is also nice and thick as well, and I wish the included foam was a little bit thicker, but it's good enough for now, and hopefully we're going to see third-party manufacturers come up with different foam options too. One thing I found really interesting about the goggles is they run a Linux operating system, and that explains why they probably take ages to boot. But the good news is the firmware's on GitHub, so someone can probably fork it and make their own version with a faster boot time. The menus are pretty straightforward, and I found navigating around them with the scroll wheel and button quite easy. Everything seems to be in the right place as well. Now, if you want to connect a CADX WalkSnail video receiver or fly the sim on your computer through the goggles, you'd appreciate the genius of the engineering that has gone into these goggles. Both the HDMI ports feed straight to the OLED screens, so there's no added latency. That's right, there's both a HDMI in and HDMI output on the goggles, but you are going to need a mini HDMI connector. I also like how the HDMI out shows whatever is on the screen, and that's how I recorded this menu demonstration. The goggles have an MSRP of $600, which is more than fair considering they're a high-end goggle with features like a 90Hz 1080p OLED screens that have an adaptive refresh rate. Now, that adaptive refresh rate is important because they also support 540p at 90 frames per second, which is for the new Nano camera that has been designed specifically to give racers lower latency at the cost of resolution. But they also support 1080p at 30 frames per second, so it seems like a high resolution camera could be in the pipeline. Let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see a HDZero 1080p camera. And now all that's left to do is go out and fly them. For HDZero, I'll be flying my Foxeer Foxwhoop 25, and for analog, I'll be running my Fake Pex, which is from my under $200 budget build video. And I'm going to be using a TBS Fusion for the analog module. I'll also have my SkyZones with the SkyZone receiver for comparison, and during the flight footage I'll be discussing some of the quirks I found during the flights. I haven't flown analog for quite some time, basically because I really haven't found the need to since getting HDZero. But when I went to the Maldives, I took the new Foxeer Aura with the 2-watt analog VTX, and that image quality was really good on the SkyZones, but I am very impressed by just how good the analog video is on the HDZero goggles. They have this thing called a deinterlacer, which without going into the technicalities removes all of the flickering and jagged edges which can appear in analog video feeds. One thing that is a major difference is the HDZero screens are native 16:9, while the SkyZones are native 4:3. Now what this means is that the HDZero goggles, when you are in 4:3, you get a smaller field of view and black bars on the side because the resolution is wider than it is taller, which is kind of the opposite for a native 4:3 screen on the SkyZones, which gives you a huge field of view in 4:3 and you get the image in all of its glory, but flying on 16:9, the sky zones crops off the picture at the top. Well, I don't know what you can expect from HDZero video on HDZero goggles, apart from it being the best that HDZero has ever looked. There's also a new MP4 format which uses H.265 compression for most cameras, but you can still use the TS format for a lossless recording. I really like the new HDZero goggles and I'm glad that I bought them. If you'd like me to rerun the 1 watt freestyle penetration test with the HDZero goggles, drop me a comment below. I'm Darren Allett, until next time, don't forget to send it.